Hello everyone, today we're going to be doing the Huddle landing page with curved sections challenge from Frontend Mentor. So you can head over into frontendmentor.io/challenges and you can go to the last challenge. You can click on this card and then we can just go ahead and say visit Challenge Hub and then download starter, which is going to download the starter files. And then once it downloads the starter files, you can navigate into your downloads folder and you should get a zip file called Huddle landing page with curved sections, which I am going to I'm going to extract this, extract it here, and it's going to extract into this folder, which I'm going to right click and say open with code, which is going to open up an instance of Visual Studio Code. And then once it opens up, I'm going to maximize it, and then we can check on what we're going to be doing. As we begin, then please subscribe to the channel if you're not already and ring the notification bell so that you're always going to be notified of when I upload a new video. So inside the index.html, we have a boilerplate with the text, with the footer on the bottom. Then we have the readme and we have the style guide, which is going to be obviously our style guide for this. So we have two fonts, we have the Poppins and we have the Open Sans, and this is the icon library, but I think they provide the images. They should. So for the icons here, we're just going to use these icons instead of these icon libraries. And then what we need to do now is I'm going to open up the design file so that I can have a reference for it. So this is the design file, but actually I want the mobile design first because we're going to be building this mobile first. So it looks like a pretty nice design, and what we're going to do is we're going to be using Tailwind Css to style this out. And for this particular use case, I want to use the Tailwind CDN instead of installing it by npm, because I encountered issues in my last video when I installed Tailwind using npm. So you can go into cdnjs.com and then you can search for Tailwind CSS, Tailwind, and note that this uses Tailwind version 2. The current version for Tailwind is version 3, so take note of this. So I'm just going to copy the link tag, and then inside my index.html, I'm going to go back to the top and then I'm going to paste it right here. And then now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an index.css file, and then inside this index.css, I'm going to cut this out. You don't really have to do this, by the way. I just like having this in a separate file. And then I'm going to remove this part, and then I'm going to paste this in and save it. Then add a space here. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to be using an extension called Live Server, which is going to open up a local development server for me, which supports hot reloading. So the extension is called a Live Server right here. You can go ahead and install it if you want. So let me just do this. Let me right click on this and then let me say open with the Live Server, and it's going to format this a bit, but I'm just going to say Ctrl+Z, which is going to remove the format because I want to structure this out before you can begin styling it. So once this opens up, or as it opens up, let me go into the style guide and let me get these two fonts. So we need the Poppins and we need the Open Sans font. So just control and click. Oops, what's happening? Okay, control click. So here we have the Poppins font. We want this 700. So just scroll down to this 700, which should be this one. And then we're going to go back to the top. Okay, something is wrong with my computer. Okay, there we go. And then we also need the, let me see, go back to Google Fonts. We need the Open Sans font. And for this, we need the 400, 600, and 700. So the 400 regular. We need the medium 600, the semi-bold 600, and the bold 700. And then I'm just going to use the import tab here and then just copy this part. And then inside my index.css, I'm going to paste this on top here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to specify the body to have a font family. It's a font family of, should be Open Sans with a fallback of sans serif. And then I'm going to specify for the heading, so H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, and H6, but we're not going to use all of them. The font family here is going to be Poppins with a fallback of sans serif. And then we can save this, and then now let's link our index.css file inside our HTML. So let's go right below this. Actually not, let me go above this. So link the index.css. Now I'm just going to save this, and then once again I'm going to say Control Z because I just want the fonts to apply. So we can close this, and then I can also close this part, and then I'm going to place this to the right, and then place my code editor to the left, and then this is going to be open here. So we need to begin with the header first, and let's go ahead. And you know what, let me do this. Let me just build up the structure in HTML, and then we're going to begin to style it. So try it free. This is a call to action. This is the header, the logo I mean. So let's go ahead and create our header. So header, and then inside here we're going to have a div, and this div is going to have an image. The image is going to be our logo. So /images/logo, and then below this we're going to have a button which is going to say try it free. So just push this upwards, and you can push it upwards and downwards by holding down the Alt key and using the up or down arrow key, just like that. And then below the header we're going to have a showcase. So let me see, get started for free, and then the image. So up to here, cut this out, add in a section, and then an article, and then paste this in. And then below this article we're going to have another article, and this article, let me just check if it has the mobile as well as the desktop images just to be sure. So we have a number of images here, but which one is the actual image that we want? This is the footer, section bottom, section top, desktop. Screen mockups should be the one. So inside this article, let's have an image which is coming from /images /screen mockups.svg, and then let's structure this out. This is going to be an h1, paste this in. This is going to be a paragraph, paste this in, and then below this we have a button. This is going to be our button, paste that in, and then we can save it, and then let's view what we have on the screen once it reloads. And you can see that we have that. So once again, just hit Control Z so that it removes the format. And then once we have this, then let me go ahead and let me just add in this part here as an article. And then inside this article, the way it's structured, look at this. So it has this image on top, then 1.4K, then communities, and then this section. So this section is going to be another part. So that's why I have this one inside an article instead of just being inside a section of its own. So inside here, let me do this. Let me have a div, and then inside this div, we're going to have an image. First of all, this should be coming from /images /communities. So icon communities.svg. This, we're going to give this an h2, and then this, we're going to place it inside a paragraph. And then we're going to have the same structure for this second one. So just copy this downwards, and then paste this here, and then paste this here. And then we need to change this, so this should be messages. There we go. And then when we save it, then it should appear. There we go. So just say Control Z once again, and then we can go into this next section. Let me see how it is structured. So grow together, flowing conversations, your users. Okay. So see how this the last article here has a curved bottom, that's an image, and a curved top, that's also an image. And then the first one also has a curved top and a curved bottom. So those are images that we're going to be using. So what we're going to do therefore is this. We're going to cut the first one, second one, and third one here, cut it out, place it inside this section, and then paste this in. Let's remove this space. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to grab this entire thing, place it inside an article, and paste it in, because I want to structure this first one, and then we can structure the rest of them. It's going to be easier. And so what we're going to do is this. We need to have a picture tag, because there are desktop images and mobile images as well. So what we need to do therefore is we need the bg section top desktop 1. Oh, wait a minute, how is this? What I need to think. So we have the, actually, you know what? Let me open the desktop for a moment. Here it is. So we have the BG top desktop, right? BG section top desktop 1. And we also need the BG section top mobile 1. Okay, so there we go. So therefore, we're going to place it inside a picture tag. And then we're going to have a source media attribute here. So source media, I forget the syntax. Source media, and then we're going to say that for a min width of 768 pixels, then we want the desktop image to show, which is coming from /images /bg section dash top dash desktop dash one.svg, long name. And then we're just going to copy this part. Oops, copy. And then below this, we're going to have our image, which is going to be the mobile image. So just change this into mobile. Okay, and then below this, we're going to have an h3. So I'm going to place this to be an h3. Oh, wait a minute. We need this image as well. Okay, so we are also going to restructure this therefore. So this is an h3 and this is a paragraph, right? And then what we need to do is I'm going to grab this. I'm going to grab this, right? Cut this out, place it inside the div. And then you know what? Let's actually cut this out, place it inside an article, so that the article is going to act like one thing. And then this other article that you're going to place is going to have this image. So below this, we're going to have another article. It's going to be an image, which is coming from /images / should be, actually not, it's not even image, it should be a picture tag. So let's just copy this picture tag here, copy and paste it here. And then we need to change this into bottom. And then we need to change this into bottom. Okay, so let's just save this and let's see what we have on the screen, just to make sure that we are on the right track. Yeah, there we go. So you can see that the top curved image is this one and the bottom curved image is this one. It's very faint, it's barely visible, or at least like when you tilt your screen, then it becomes a bit more visible. And so that's what we're going to work with. That's looking okay. And then now what we need to do for the second section is and for the second section, I mean this part, because this part doesn't have curved images, it's just completely blank, but it seems curved because of these curved images on the top and bottom. So what we're going to do is we are going to copy this div, and actually, you know what, we're going to copy the entire article. Okay, and no, let's not just copy it. It's even confusing me. Wait a minute. Wait, this article ends here. So this article, copy this article and paste it once. And then what we need to do is we need to remove this article that has the picture tag on the bottom. And then we also need to remove the article, this one that has the picture tag. We need to remove this picture tag so that we're only going to remain with this div. And this div is going to say what? Let's see. So it says flowing conversations. Cut this out. Oh, wait a minute. I formatted it. Okay. We're just going to have to delete it as it is. So paste this in flowing conversations, and then this should end. Let me confirm something. It ends up to natural flow. So here, cut this out and then paste it inside here. And then let's see, save it. Let's open up what we have. And you know what I'm missing? I've just realized I'm missing my images. So the image should be, oh, that means that I structured this wrongly. So you see, this article should be outside of this div, because this div should have another article, and this article should be the image that comes from /images that says it should be something like grow together. This one, illustration grow together, so that when I save this, then the illustration should appear here. There we go. Okay, so that is the correct format. So this div is outside, and then we have an article with the picture tag, and then another article with the picture tag. No, What is the purpose of this article? Oh, the article is the parent of each particular section. Okay. I'm lagging in my brain for a moment. Okay, so we have this div, and then we have this article, and then let's have another article here, and then this article is going to be an image that comes from /images / should be flowing conversations, illustration flowing conversation. And then look how it's alternating. See how the image goes here first, and then here, and then here. I'm going to attempt, emphasis on the attempt. I'm going to attempt to do it in Tailwind CSS. If it doesn't, then what we're going to do is we're just going to restructure it so that the image appears first, and then this other article appears second. And then now let's go ahead and let's create this third article. So the article should be, let me copy this top one. So beginning here up to here, copy all the way, copy, and then outside of this article below it, paste this in. And then what we're going to do is change this to 2 and change this to 2, and then go to the top, change this to 2 and change this to 2. And that's basically how we're going to be accessing the second curved images. And then we need to change this h3, and the h3 now says your users, so cut this out and paste it here. And then the paragraph ends at immediately, so this entire thing, cut this out and paste it inside here. And then the next section that we need is the ready to build your community. So ready to build your community, let's go outside of this section, let's create another section with an h2 that says ready to build your community. Cut this out, paste it here, and then below this we're going to have a paragraph. No, it's a button that says get started for free. Cut this out, paste it here. And then below this, let's see, we have our footer. So this entire thing is the footer, so cut this out, place it inside the footer. And then we have our image. So let me see how, okay, just a moment. So this on mobile, or no, not on mobile, on desktop, this entire thing is one div or one article, and then this is the other one. So let's see how it looks on mobile, because it might be so on mobile this only comes first. Okay, so that's easy enough. I mean, I thought it was something complicated, but you know. So let's do this. Inside the footer we're going to have a div which is going to be the parent for all this. Now the reason why I have this div here is because I'm going to be limiting the footer on large screens. Like, I don't want the footer to go all the way to the end. Like here it seems as though it goes all the way to the end, but that's only because of the design. So I want that on like extra large screens, like, you know, the big monitors. I don't want the footer to stretch all the way to the end, right? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to be limiting the content inside the footer. So that's why I've added this div, so that I can limit this div, because if I go to limit the footer, then it's going to be limiting even the background color, which I don't want, right? So above this footer, the first thing that we have is this top image. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy this article that has the picture tag, paste it below this, and then what we're going to do is, let me just confirm that the footer image exists. Footer top bg footer top desktop and bg footer top mobile. So we're just going to change this into bg footer top desktop, then copy this part, paste it here, change this to mobile, and that is our footer image. And then below this we're going to have articles. So this first article is going to be our logo, so /images /logo.svg. but notice that our logo is dark in color, our default logo, but the logo on the footer is white in color. So we're going to be changing that a bit, and we're going to be calling it footer-logo, and you're going to see how we're going to change it. And then below this, let me say, let's do this. I'm going to go, actually no, let me just do it inside this article. Let me have another paragraph, and the paragraph says lorem until sem, so all the way up to here. Cut this out, paste it in, and then below this paragraph we're going to have a ul, so a ul that has an image and a font. So ul, which is going to be a list item, this list item has the image. The source for this image is /images / the font image, or the font icon, and then it says the phone number here. Copy this or cut it out really, and then paste it here, and then just copy the list item once, and then change this into icon email, change this into example.huddle.com. I mean, you can make this into links if you want, by the way. And the reason why I'm not adding an alt attribute here is because these images are decorative, so you don't need to have an alt attribute. And then let's go ahead and create our second article. And this second article is going to be an H4 that says newsletter. Cut this out, place it here. Below this, let's have a paragraph that says to up to address, so to up to address here, paste it in. And then we're going to have a form. So below this paragraph, we're going to have a form. And then this form is not going to have an action because it's not going anywhere. And then this input is going to be an input of type email because it's an email address, because it's a subscription form, it's a newsletter form. And then here we're going to have a name of email with an ID of email. With does have placeholder, it doesn't have placeholder, but we're going to set it to required just in case you try to submit it without filling it in, then it's going to give you like an HTML5 validation. And then below this, we're going to have an input with a type of submit, which is going to say subscribe. Okay. Oh, by the way, I don't know whether you know this, but you can have an input to be a button as well. Or if you don't want to have it an input to be the button, that you can have the button of type submit, and then just set it to submit. It's basically going to be the same thing. So it's all part of your preference. I mean, I don't think there are any downsides to using one over the other. But yeah, and you know what? Let me just use the input. So let's do this. Let's change this into my website, https tsbsankara.com. Change this into my name, and then save it. And then once we save it and we take a look at our application, you can see that it looks quite horrible. And this is the bigger version. So let's begin to style this out. Looks quite horrible, and we're just going to do top down. So let's place this back to the left. Let's go to the top, and we have Tailwind Css installed, so that is going to be quite easy. Inside the header, let's give this a class of flex and items-center and justify-between, which is going to take our thingies to the end, like so. Let's give it a padding all around of 8. And you know what? Let me go inside the body. And okay, you know what? I don't want to go inside the body because I wanted to give the body a class name of padding all around of 8. And at face value, it looks nice. But when you get to these images here, like the ones that are supposed to be going all the way to the end, it's going to be an issue. So let's do this. I'm going to move it from here, and I'm going to be adding the padding on every section. Actually, I've removed it from the wrong section. It should be removed from the body here. There we go. And then let's go inside this image. This image, we're going to give this image a class of about width-20 to reduce it, not remove it. That's too small. Width-56. Okay, too big. Width-40. And then we're going to say that for large screens, then the width should be auto. So just take it back to its original size. And then this button, let me see how this button is styled. This one. So it's pink with a border and pink text. Let me see if I can do it here. So give this a class name, a class of what is it? Text. Does Tailwind version 2 have a class of text pink? Let me see. Okay, it does. Okay, and then let's give it a class of border 2 and a border dash pink dash 400 as well. There we go. Let me reduce this to border 1, and then let's give it a padding y of 2, padding x of 4, and then rounded dash full. Something is wrong. What did I change? Let me see. Let's backtrack. Let's backtrack up to here, border pink 400. So border 1, oh, border 1 class does not exist. So let's just undo everything that we have removed here, and then let's add the class of border. There we go. So border 1 does not exist, but border does exist, and that is our button on top. Let's go inside this h1, give this a class of text-3xl. Let's say margin bottom 8, and then let's say text dash center. And actually, you know what, instead of saying text center on this h1, let me go inside this article and then give this a class of text dash center. And then we can go inside this section, give this a class of padding all round of 8, padding dash 8. There we go. Let's go inside this paragraph, give this a class of, let me say, text gray 900, and now let me just say 600, just to lighten the font a bit. Oh, wait a minute, what is this font? What is this font? Looks like the default. Come on, system UI. Yeah, that's not the correct font. That is not the correct font. Font family should be Open Sans. Do I have this font? Open Sans is here, but it does not apply. Why don't you apply font family? Because the font of Poppins applies on the headers, on the headings. But let me try something. Let's say the body and the paragraph. Okay, now you see this applies. Now the font family applies. Like, you can tell the difference. I mean, it still says system UI, but now it looks like the font that it's supposed to be. Okay, let's just continue. Let's take this back to the left. And then what I'm going to do now is this. I'm going to go inside here, inside this class, I'm going to give this a class of text small and leading loose. So reduce the font size and increase its line spacing on mobile screens. And then let's say margin bottom of, let me say 8. I used 8 on the heading. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that for large screens, that the text should go back to base. And then for large screens, we're going to reduce the line height to relaxed. So relaxed. And you're going to see that once you increase it. And then let me just tell out this h1 for large screens as well. And you know what, let me give this h1 a class of text gray 900. And I'm choosing gray because slate does not yet exist in version 2 of Tailwind. And then I'm going to say that for large screens, then the text should be 5XL. We're going to save that. And then let me go ahead and let's style this button. So give this button a class of, let me say, BG pink 400, padding Y2, padding X4, rounded, full text white, and a slate box shadow. And we're going to have that. Let me say text dash small as well. And you know what? This font on the button is still not the font that we want. So let me specify that the font family here should also apply on buttons and on inputs as well, because we want it to apply on inputs as well. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to say that for large screens that the text should go back to base. There we go. And all of this that we're applying on large screens, you're going to see it once you start to increase it. And I mean, like, you can pause the video and then just try to increase it, and you'll see that this is what happens when you apply the classes for large screens and so on and so forth. And then let's go inside this article that has the image, give this a class of margin Y. Let me say margin Y of 8 to push away from this button and to push away from this text as well that we have at the bottom. And this text is these images. And then what we're going to do now is this, because this image basically styles itself. So we're going to go into this next section, that is this article. So give this article, let me see how it's styled on mobile first of all. Here, let's go to the mobile. So mobile is just one on top of the other. So let's do this. Let's give this a class name, or a class. Oh my god, React is messing with my mind. Let me give it a class of padding all round of 8. And I do realize that that increases this padding as well, but it's okay. White space is nice, you know. And then let's do this. Let me do this. Let's see. Let's go inside this h2. And you know, this h2 and this paragraph are going to be styled the same way. So I'm going to click here and I'm going to hold down the alt key and click on this second h2 to put 2 cursors, and we can just style them once. So give this a class of text-3xl with a margin bottom of 4. And you know what, let me say margin Y of 4 to push away from the image and from the paragraph as well. Okay, that's too much. Let me say margin top of 4 and margin bottom of 2. Save it. Let's see. Okay, and then let's say, let me increase this to about 5XL. It's a bit too small for me, even for mobile. And then let's change the color. So text gray 900. And then we're going to do the same thing. So click on this paragraph and then hold down the Alt key, click on the second one, give this a class of, let me say, text gray 600, text small, and let me just say large. Oops, plug in my charger. Okay, there we go. So for large screens, we're going to say text dash large, not large but base, so take it back to 16 pixels basically, and we're going to have that. And then let's go back inside this article. Let's display this article as a grid with grid columns 1 with a gap of 8 to separate these two out. There we go. And then we're going to say that for medium screens, then the grid columns should be 2, which is going to place this to be side by side. And watch this, if I increase it past medium, then this is what happens, and on large screens it's still going to display as 2 grids. We're going to work on the proper responsiveness once we like limit everything, but for now I just want to get the styles working. And then now let's go inside here, which is going to be some trouble. So the next section is this one, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go inside this image, which is going to be our decorative image on the top. I'm going to give this image a class of width dash full, which is going to cause it to go all the way to the end, even on large screens. And then what I need to do now is go inside this div, give this div a class of, and you know what, it's not even a class, but I need this same color. So let me just grab what this color is. Open this extension that is called color picker eyedropper, and just copy this hex value here. And then I'm going to go inside this div, give this div a style, and I'm going to give it a background color and paste this in, so that now this div is going to be, there we go. Would you look at that, looking nice? And it only applies on this div and not on the others. And then we can take this back and then we can continue styling it. And then what we're going to do now is this. We're going to go to this bottom image, not this one, but this one that has the picture tag. We're going to give this a class of width dash full as well, so that the bottom image also goes all the way to the end, so that now it's kind of symmetrical. And then let's go back, let's go inside this div, going to give this div a class of padding y of 10. And then for large screens, I'm going to say padding y of 20, just to increase like the padding on the top and bottom, so that there's a bit more space, like, you know, like when you're like viewing this on mobile, so that it doesn't seem all squeezed. And then let me just check the design. Where is it here? So in the design, the image comes first for all three. So the image comes first. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go inside this article. Where is it? Sorry, not inside the article, but inside this div. And we're going to display this div as a flex box, which is going to align them in raw form by default. And then I'm going to say flex column reverse, meaning reverse the order in which they appear. So bring the image to be on top first and then the text on the bottom. And then I'm going to go inside this article, give this a class of text dash center. And then for medium screens, I'm going to say text dash left, meaning align them back to the left on medium screens. And then what I also need to do now is on medium screens, then I need this to display as a grid instead of as a flex box. And then for medium screens, I'm going to say grid columns dash 2. And then for medium screens, I'm going to say give this a gap. And you know what? For both of them, actually, give this a gap of 8. So that it increases the spacing here. And you know, let me say gap of 16. How large is that? Just increase this space. Yeah, that's okay. And then let's go inside this h3, give this a class of text dash 2xl. So text 2xl, text slate 900. And then let's say margin bottom 8, pushed away from this. And then you know what? I've realized I'm going to be styling the paragraph the same way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to this first paragraph that I had, this one here. Copy this. And let me see. If I install Tailwind by npm, that I could define the classes here, but I haven't done that. So we're just going to have to copy and paste. So paste it here, which is going to style this paragraph. There we go. And then let me go inside this second paragraph as well, which is this one, and paste it in. And then inside this paragraph as well and paste it in. So it's going to apply for this paragraph as well as for this paragraph. And then let me go inside this h3 that we have on top that we have styled. So basically this one. And then let me copy the classes for this h3. Copy this. And then inside this second h3 here, paste this in. And then inside this third one here, paste this in. and then when you save it, then the styles are going to apply. There we go. And then you know what, these articles are styled more or less the same. So I'm going to go inside here and copy this class of this article, copy this and paste them inside here. No, that's not the correct one. Inside here, which is going to move the text to the center. There we go. And then go inside this third one, which is this one, paste it in and save it, which is going to move this text to the center. And there we go. And then now let's just continue styling this out, because we need to add some bit of padding on the left and right so that this text doesn't go all the way to the end. So let me do this. Let me go inside the first article, which should be grow together, and inside this article, and now let me do it inside this div, so that instead of only having padding y of 10, let me also have padding x of 8, which is going to push everything inwards, including the image, so that now there's a bit of leeway, you can see. And then let's do it for this second article as well, and that is going to be on the div. And you know what, for the div, let me do this. Let me copy these classes and then let me paste them on this wait, what? Where's the div? This is the div that ends here. And then this div, okay, here it is. Here it is. It eluded me for a second. Paste it in. And then when I save it, then now like it has some padding on the top and bottom. And you know what, for this second div, for this second div, the flex reverse also works, because I want the image to come first. And then let's see, and you know what, this padding is a bit too small for me, so let me just remove the padding here and make it to be 20 by default. And then even on the top one, which is this one, padding 20, and then remove this. And then let me just copy these classes once again, and then let's go inside the final div. So this one ends here, this one begins here, and then just paste it in, and it should apply the classes on this third one as well. So grow together, flowing conversations, and we have your users. Okay, let me see, is there anything else? Now what you need to do is, for this section, we need to increase this width as well. So inside this image, let's give this a class of width -full, so that it goes all the way to the end. And then just copy this part and go to this bottom image here, paste it in, so that now the images are going to be, they're going to go all the way to the end. And then let's go inside the first div. Remember, we had a color, we added a background color here. So just copy this part, and then let's go inside the third div. It's a bit of copying and pasting, but you know, let's just paste it in here, and that color is going to apply for this third div. And there we go. Would you look at that, looking quite nice. And even now, if you increase it, it's not going to look like all that nice, right? But we're going to style that out when you get to it. So now let's deal with our ready to build your community section. So ready to build your community is right here. Give this a class of padding y20. For large screens, let's say padding y40. Increase it for no reason. And then let me see this h2. Where is this h2? Ready to build your community. Okay, so here let's give this a class of text 3xl. For large screens, text 5xl. Let's say text center, let's say text gray 900, change its color. And then let's go back inside this article, inside this section, sorry, and then let's give it a padding on the x of 8 to limit it. And then inside this button, you know, I already styled this button on top, which should be this one. So let's go back to the bottom and paste it here, and it should apply those classes. Oops, that's the wrong button. That's the wrong button. Where is it? Should be this one. Go back to the bottom. Where is it? Oops, that's the footer. Should be here, this one. Paste it in. And there we go, there we go. And then now what we need to do is we need to move this button to the center. So I can do that by going inside this section and transform this section to be a flex box. So flex column, item center, and justify center, which is going to move it to the center. And then just to increase the gap, let me increase the gap to 8 so that it separates from the h2 as well. So that we're going to have this. And then now let's deal with our footer. So for the footer, let me go first inside this image, give this a class of width -full, so that the image goes all the way to the end. And then the footer needs to have a background color, and the background color is this color. So let me just grab this color, use this extension, copy this color, and then let's go inside the footer. Let's give this a class of not a class, but a style equals to background color, and set it to this with a hashtag. Let me see where it applies. Yeah, I was expecting something like that. So the reason why it applies above the image is because the background color is applied above the image. So you can technically move this upwards and it's going to work. And you know, like you can do that, or you can do this. You can move this back down, and then you can set the style property to be on this div. But that is going to cause another issue where I was explaining a few minutes ago, where when you're limiting it, then the background color is not going to go all the way to the end. So let me move this upwards because it's going to be easier. And then let's go inside this footer. Let's give this a class of padding Y20. There we go. And then now what we need to do is we need to fix our footer logo. So let's open up our images, and we're going to copy this logo and paste it in, so that we're going to have logo copy. And then using F2, we're going to rename this into footer-logo. And then now what we need to do is, you can see that now the logo appears here, but the text is unreadable. We're going to change the fill color for this SVG, and it says fill none. So what we're going to do is we're going to change this into hashtag white, so FFF, and save it, and now it should appear. And actually that's the wrong color. The color should be here on the bottom, this one. FFF. Okay, and it should appear. There we go. Would you look at that? Which means you can take this back to none. There we go. There we go. And that is our footer logo. So the footer logo is going to have the same styles as our header logo. So let's just copy the styles here, copy them up to here, go into our footer and paste them on the footer. Where are you? Footer here. Oh my god, everything is so crowded. Paste this in. Okay, and then let's go inside here. Let's give it a margin bottom of 8 to push away from this text. Let's go inside this paragraph, give this a class of text white, text small, leading loose. For large screens, text base. For large screens, text leading relaxed. And the reason why I've moved a bit faster on this is because I've already explained these classes. And we're going to have that, and then let's give it a margin bottom of 8 as well. And then let's go inside this UL, and you know what, not even inside the UL, inside the list item, give this a class of flex, because the list item has the image as well as the text. And then let's give it a class of text white, so that this text changes to white. And then let's give it a gap of 2 so that it separates out the text from the thingy. And then let's just copy this part and paste it here, which is going to apply for the second one as well. And the reason why it stretches is because we need to add items center here. So here and here, items center. There we go. And then let's go inside the UL. Let me give this a class of flex, and let's give it a gap of 4 to separate both of these out. I do not, I want it to be flex column on mobile. There we go. And then let's go inside this UL, give it a margin bottom of 8 to push away from the newsletter section. And you know what, let me give it a margin bottom of 12 just because. And then let's go inside this H4, give this a class of text white and uppercase and text XL and a margin bottom 8. Let's see the newsletter. There we go. Let's give it a tracking dash wider to increase its letter spacing. That's the widest. Okay, and then this part is going to have the same class as this paragraph, so just do some copying and pasting here. Copy and paste it here. There we go. And then I've just remembered, let's go back inside the parent div so that we can add a padding on the left so that this pushes inwards. So inside here, inside this div, let's give this div a class. Actually, I can do it on the footer, padding X of 8. Yeah, should work correctly. There we go, it works. And then now let's tell this button, and you know this button has the same classes as this one, so let's just do some copying and pasting. You can see it's that's what web development is sometimes. paste this here. pgping py2 rounded. Yeah, that should apply. There we go. Actually, this is not completely rounded, is it? Is it? Yeah, I've just like it just triggered in my brain. So rounded large. Okay, let's just say rounded. And then let's copy these classes. And now let me not copy them. Let's just tell this input out. Give this a padding y of 2, padding x of 4, and then let me say text pink dash 600. So the text that when you're typing in the text is going to be pink with a shade of 600, and that should be that, but it's not yet because why is this larger? Why is this larger? It's because it's an input of type thing. Is that really true? Could that be true? Actually, you know what? I want this to be a width of full, that it goes all the way to the end and the button goes on the next line, so that I can go inside the form, give this a class of, let me say, flex dash column, and let me say should be items dash end. We should push it to the end, this button here. There we go, because that's how it looks in the design. And then let's increase the margin on the bottom of this input. So here, let's say margin bottom of 4, pushed away from this button just a bit, and then let's say rounded dash large for the input. Okay, that's looking nice. That's looking nice. And you can see that the mobile version of this website is actually complete. It is actually complete. Probably this should move to the center. Is it? Yeah, it moves to the center. So let me try and do that. Let's go back inside the section of where is it? This one here. So grid columns too. Let me see what happens when you say place items center. There we go, so that it's now centered. That's looking nice. Fantastic. So now what we need to do is just begin to scale it up, and scaling it up is going to be easy because all we need to do now is just like make sure that everything renders correctly. Okay, and we're going to start with the top. So the first thing that we need to do is I want to increase this padding here, or the margin, so that this pushes downwards just a bit. But let me check my phone because it's ringing. Okay, so after phone call, let's continue. So let's go back to the top, and right where here, what I'm going to do is that for large screens, I'm going to put the padding on the Y to 20 so that this pushes downwards. Is that the correct one? Build. Oh, this is, I've said for large screens, so let me make this to be medium screens so that it pushes downwards. There we go. And increase the padding here, also increases the padding here, but you can see it's very insignificant. And then let's just increase it. You can see that once it increases all the way to the end, then like the text also goes all the way to the end, but I don't think that's how it looks on desktop. So this is one line, and then this is the oh my god, words are going away from me. This is the text. Okay, so we need to just limit this text on large screens. So let's go ahead and do this. We're going to go into this paragraph, and we're going to say that for large screens, then the width should be a half of what the container is, which is going to push it to the left. And then we can say for large screens mx auto, which is going to push it back to the center. Okay, and not, that's a bit too little. I mean, it's a bit too large. So let's say a third. Let's say width dash a third. Oops. Width dash 1/3. That's much better. And then we need to push this to the center. So let's go inside this one, and we're going to give this a class of block and mx auto, which is going to push to the center. And then what I'm going to do is, because on large screens, oh, actually, wait a minute. Oh, this doesn't, I thought the image would increase. No, I doubt that. Let me go into the responsive tab. Let's use the, oops, that's not a thingy. No, not that one. Which one is the bigger laptop? What? Okay, now rather than do that, let's just go into the responsive tab. Let's increase it ourselves. Reduce this to 50. Oh, I thought the image would increase a lot, but it doesn't. Okay, so that's okay. We just need to limit the header as well, by the way. So let's limit the header, and let's go back into the header let's give this a max width of 7xl, which is going to push this back to the left a bit here, right? And now just to center it, so I'm going to say mx auto, which is going to bring it to the center. That's much better. So we're going to be using max width 7xl for the rest of the sections, beginning with this part right here. You can see that this works correctly, but I mean, like, if you increase the screen size, then it goes all the way to the end, so we can limit it as well. And for this section particularly, I want this to be closer, so I'm going to go and do this. Let me make this full screen, and then let's go inside this article and paste this in, but reduce this to about 3xl, and then let's see what we're going to have. That is much better. And then let's deal with this next section, and this section we're going to start with the h3, and the first thing that we're going to do is increase the size of the h3. So for medium screens, I'm going to increase the size to 3xl, and then for large screens, I'm going to increase the size to 4xl, which is going to increase this h3. There we go. And then what we need to do now is I need to limit. Oh, I've done a mistake. Because actually, you know what, I think I can, let me show you what happens here. If I paste this in, which is our limit for the max width, look at what happens to the color. So the color now doesn't go all the way to the end. See how it leaves a white space here? It doesn't go all the way to the end. So the solution for that would be to grab this article and this second article and place it inside another parent article or another parent div or section, and then placing the background color on this and then limiting it. Sorry. So instead of limiting this, then we limit the other parent article, but it's going to mess up with the styling. Just watch and see. So just grab this article and this second article, place them inside a div like so, and then let's go ahead and grab this part up to here, cut it out, and then I'm going to paste this here. So give this a class of this, and then now watch what happens. It's going to mess up with the styling just a bit, right? So let's fix that right away, because even on mobile it has messed up with the styling, because on mobile we want this to appear first. And so now all we need to do is copy. Actually, you know what? I think we can copy all these classes. I think that would be fine. So let me copy it from here up to here, and then paste them inside here. Let me see if that works. Okay, let's increase it. Okay, that works. You can see that now it is limited, but then I want this text to move to the center. So what I'm going to do is right inside here, I'm going to say that for medium screens, then place dash items center, which is going to move this downwards. There we go. Okay, and that means that we're just going to have to change the classes for these other sections. But then I noticed something when I was increasing this. I noticed something. Let me see if I can reproduce it. So the image is here, and then, oh, it must have been a mirage, which I know technically can't happen, because there's no mirage effect on this. And so we are going to need to do the same thing on these second sections. So for these second sections, then let's do this. Let's go here first of all. Let's say for medium screens, then increase this to 3xl, and then for large screens, increase the heading to 4xl. And then let me just copy this, because we're going to do this for the next one as well. And then let me just go ahead and paste it in right away. And then let's do this. Now for this second div, by the way, there is a hack that you can do. So because this second div doesn't have a background image, then you can just limit it as it is. So if I go inside this second div here and give it a max width of 7xl and an mx of auto, then it's going to be limited, and you're not really going to tell if there's a difference. But just to maintain the structure of everything, then let's just grab this article and this one as well, so that we can place it inside a div, just to maintain the structure, because like one day you're going to be looking at this code and you don't want to be confused. Let's just paste it here. So flowing conversations, and oops, did I do something wrong? Did I do something wrong somewhere? flowing conversation. Okay, so it hadn't reloaded. Okay, so that we're going to have this, and then now what we need to do is we also need to add an MD class of place item center so that this goes downwards. And then remember that on desktop screens that the image comes first and then this one comes second. So what we're going to do is this. What we are going to do is this. Let me see. So we are using grid here. So I'm not going to use grid for this second one. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that for medium screens, then the flex should go back into row. And let me see what flex row does. So flex row placed them like this, but I want it to be reversed. So flex row reverse, which will place the image first. There we go. So first image, second image, and you just as easy as that. And then let's go ahead and do it for this third one as well. So grab this article and this second one. So this one, cut it out, paste them inside a div, and then cut out these classes here, paste them inside here. And then let's say for medium screens, then place item center, and then save it, and that should work. There we go. And then let's go ahead and limit this on max width -7XL with an MX of auto. There we go. Would you look at that? Looking nice, looking quite nice. This is not the correct image. Yep, it's not the correct image. Is it? Yeah, it's not the correct image. So this third one should say users. Your users, this one. Fantastic. And then now let's go ahead and ready to build your community. You can see this is already styled out well. And then now what you need to do is just style out our footer. And our footer, let's go into our footer here. Let's give this div a class of max width 7XL with an MX of auto, which is going to limit the text without affecting the background color. That's why I added this div. And then let's go ahead and give this div a class of grid and grid columns -1 with a gap of h. And then for MD screens, let's say grid columns -2, which is going to place them side by side like so. And then let me see what we can do. And this is looking nice as it is, except that this is a bit large. I'm missing something here, right? I'm missing something. Social media images. I am missing these 3. So let's go below this UL. Let's go here. Oops. So below this UL, let's have a list item with 3 items, and these 3 items are going to be images. And because they're not linking anywhere, then I'm just going to have the names as images and not as links. This is image Facebook. Is it Facebook? Yes, it is. Icon dash. Oops. Is there no Facebook image? What? Did they seriously not provide the Are you serious? They seriously did not provide the social media images. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. Let's go into CDN.js, and then let's grab font awesome, this one, version 6. Copy this link. Let's go back into our index.html on top. Let's paste this link here, and then let's go back to the bottom on our footer. And then inside here, let's render an icon with a class of FAB. Actually, what's the Facebook icon? Font awesome. Fontawesome.com. Oops. My internet is down. Oh, my internet is down. Oops. Oh well, so that means that I can't show you how to use this, but I mean I can still show you. So FAB and FA-Facebook. So this will generate the Facebook icon. This is how you use icons from Font Awesome. And then here you can have an icon with a class of FAB and FA- which is the next one? Instagram. And this I does not stand for icon, by the way. It stands for italic, but when you're using Font Awesome, this is how you generate the icons. And then this last one is Twitter, so i.fab and fa-twitter. Now other icons use FAS, but social media icons use FAB. Now it's been a while since I've used Font Awesome, So if these icons don't work, then please don't chew my head off in the comments. So let's save this, and then hopefully once this returns, then it should work. Where is it? Here. Take this back to the right, and would you look at that? Here are our icons. Okay, so here are our icons. Let's style them out. Let's go inside this UL. Oops, give this a class of flex items center justify start with a gap of 4 to separate them out. Let's go inside these icons. Let me go inside these list items. Maybe I don't know whether this would work, but let's say text white, if that will change the color. Okay, there we go. And then let's just increase the size of text dash 2XL. That should be fine. Too small, 3XL. There we go. That's looking much better. Okay. And then now, what do we need to do now? We need to reduce this just a bit, probably. How do I do that? Possibly I can do that by going inside this article, giving this article a class of medium screens, let's say width dash a half, width dash 1/2. Does that limit it? But it brings it here. And then let's say for medium screens, then the margin on the right should be auto, which means it should go to the left, or not. Margin left auto, which means it should go to the right. Okay, there we go. And then let's take this to margin dash a third. Not a third, but 2/3. Increase it 2/3. Reload, come on. Yeah, this is much better. This is much better. And then on large screens, I think this button is here. Yeah, on large screens the button is here. So let's tell that out. So let's go inside this form, and then let's say that for large screens, let's say the width should be auto. Let me see whether that is going to bring it here or not. So let me go ahead and do this. Let me say that for large screens that the flex should be row, which means place it here. There we go. And then there's a margin bottom of 4 here. So let me say that for large screens the margin bottom should be 0, but for large screens then the margin on the right should be 4 to push away from the bottom on large screens. There we go. And now we have our button and we have our thingy here. That's looking quite nice. Would you look at that? This is quite a nice challenge. And just like that, we are done with it. And then now what you need to do is just submit it. So let me go ahead and create a GitHub repository for it, and then let me log into Netlify. Oh my god, my internet's down once again. Okay, so let me wait for this to come back, and then I'm going to create a GitHub repository and then also submit it. So inside my repositories, let me go ahead and create a new repository called Huddle landing page with carved sections, long name. And then let's create repository, and then inside Netlify, let's log into our account, and then let's copy this link. Let's open this up. Let's close all of this, and then let me say git init, which will initialize an empty git repository here, which leaves everything untracked. And then let's say git add all. Oops, let it commit first, and then git commit -m, and I'm going to say initial commit dash project complete. And then let's say git remote add origin and paste in our link, and then git push -u origin main, which is going to push it to this repository. So let's just wait a moment. And now as this is pushing, let me log into Netlify, and then let's add a new site from an existing project from GitHub, and then it's called Huddle landing page with carved sections. It's a very long name. So Huddle landing page, let me just search for that. Searching, this should have committed, and then when you reload this, then it should appear here. So this is our repository. You can see that it has committed everything 44 seconds ago. And then let's say it's called Huddle landing page with curve. Which one is this? I don't remember building that. Must have been a while ago. So let's say deploy site. So deploying, let's change the site name and change the site name here. Let's say TsbSankara. Let's say Huddle dash curved sections. And then once it deploys, it has deployed. So we can go to this link here, and we're going to see our application or our website running. Would you look at that? Fantastic. And then now all you need to do is just submit it. So let's copy this link, go into Frontend Mentor, let's say submit solution, paste in the live site URL, and then copy this link, which is going to be the repository URL. And then let's say mobile first, let's say Huddle curved sections landing page, and then let's say HTML plus Tailwind CSS, 0 characters remaining for today. Very nice. And then let's just say submit solution. And there we go. So our solution is submitted, and you can take a look here. So view solution, and then you can just go ahead and try to drag it to the left and right to see what you have. And yeah, that's looking quite nice. We can increase the padding on the header, as you can see, increase the padding on the header and whatnot, and increase the padding on the showcase as well. I mean, just a few things you can change here and there, and yeah, there you go. So that is going to be the end of the video, and if you enjoyed it, then please leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.